And I don't know how many times I said that, but I'm privileged. All the time I have 10 opening, which is rare. But when he's here, you can feel that, you know, energy changes after he pray, after he does the. Well, we are a small group, so that's why we play together. We make a little easier or funnier. But in the end, it's just because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes life is not the way we intend it to be. And sometimes we take it too hard. And that's the time when things go really bad. Because when we focus on something, the rest disappear. This is not Peter. This is the brain works. We don't have capacity to look at everything all together. So whatever we choose to focus in, the rest will disappear. So this is a more like a invitation for us to try to focus on better things for us, on how can we change ourselves, and by doing that change others as well. And of course, if it works, it would be awesome. It didn't. It didn't. Let's try it again, shall we? Okay. Last week we have a presentation from Brian talking about life of service, and I felt that there was more to that we can serve, like because he talks about how can we serve, but he went to like firefighters, nurses and stuff. But if we are not involved in that kind of activity, it feels that we are left out. Every one of us can serve. Every one of us can help in a way that if you can affect at least one person, you're doing your job. So in Luke 9:60, they say, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God." In other words, you go and make the best of it. You go with your attention, your focus in how can I help? There's so many people around us, there's so many peers on our work that need a word of, cheer. And sometimes we are so focused in our belly button that we don't go and don't say anything. So unfortunately, we miss a chance to do better. There are always many dads in our day-to-day struggle calling us to the prayer of diligence and kindness. So there are a lot of people and things that happen that helps us to shift our focus. Instead of looking for what we intend to look. So just understand that if you lost your focus, refocus. Try that again. And if you cannot do it by the time that it's happening, okay, you try. That's why we're here. We are on a planet of trials because we need to pass through a lot of those. And once you pass, probably won't come back. Let us look for life, dedicating our hearts to constant work in the infinite good, because only those who love and learn always succeed in the overcoming the lower levels of darkness and heading towards eternal liberation. Focus also does something on our spiritual level. Because if you focus on something that is painful, In terms of energy, pain is a positive or a negative energy? I believe it's negative, right? Pain leads to fear. Fear leads to paralysis. You cannot choose. You cannot make a good understanding of things. You always try to run. If you cannot run, you can fight. But normally, you cannot run and fight, especially when we talk about work. Then you froze. We have one too many frozen people outside. And unfortunately, they cannot sing Let It Go. It doesn't work. So we need to understand that we always have the capacity of changing the day or changing the focus, and that will change our mood. And that will make things easier. Because easy is still not belong to this planet yet. But we can make it easier and we can work better, especially if we are together, especially if we have a community that shares the same beliefs, that shares the same, warmth, and is willing to help when needed. We call these guys that don't see anything the undead. Because we have the Night of the Dead here, which is a Mexican celebration, and it's not just Mexican, but they do a lot here. There is no dead. They're alive. They just change from the corporeal side to the spiritual side, but they're still alive. But there's a lot of dead people alive. They live inside a coffin. They live inside the reality that they built for themselves. They cannot see a way of getting out of that, and most of them don't want it. They feel that that's the way it is. So just understand that. There are usurers, helpless in the times of gold. There's people that love money and gold more than other people. They're creating their own tomb. They are, frozen inside something that they cannot get out of. And the problem is, normally, this will go to the spiritual side as well. So they will have a hard time to understand what is their path after this corporeal life. There are judges buried in the mud pits. I think these two first ones are the hardest ones, because some people say, wow, I wish I was born rich. It cannot be a hardest trial than being born rich, because then you have the tendency of not looking down, not looking to the side. It's only you, your money, and your family. And that's exactly what the reason that you did not got to that family, that you did not was born in that particular family. If you have money, it's to help others. If you have money, it's to do better. But normally you don't. The other one is to be a judge. I can send somebody to a death sentence? How come? And if I can't send something to the death sentence, what is the criteria? Is it politics? Is it money? Is it because I didn't like that person? I don't know. I'm so happy I'm not any of those. I'm really happy I'm not any of those, because it will be a hard time to be a judge or to be a rich person. There are young people dead in a vice and old people shrouded by the code of disenchantment. Again, those are choices, right? They pop in front of you, you can say no. But sometimes you don't have the knowledge of saying no. Or unfortunately, some elders used to say you cannot teach new tricks to an old dog, and they really believe that. As long as you have one neuron in your brain, you can learn something new. And we have millions and millions of those. But they prefer to focus on the side that is dark, or that is put them down. They're not happy with themselves. And the body paid the price. Because you start producing yourself neurotransmitters, cortisol, adrenaline, and stuff like that, that with volume will decay your body, will attack some organs. You're going to be sick out of nothing, out of your thoughts, out of the way you think you are. There are wise men hardened in the eyes of indifference, and heroes crystallized in the coffins with sparkling metals. It's hard to hear that, right? Because we always want to be a hero. All the mythology, all the stories that we heard talks about how, awesome it would be to be a hero of the day, save the day. But it depends on how you take that. I love here in the US because they have the stickers on the car say proud mom or proud dad of such and such, of classmate, a student from this or that grade. Pride has a thin line in between. Have pride and understand, or have too much pride, and then you are ignoring the rest of the normal kids that don't have the same capacity as their child. So it's always a test. We always being put into a test, always being on a thin ice to see if we're gonna drown or if we're gonna walk carefully, that way we don't break it. There are impulsive creatures in graves of thorns and lazy minds in graves of misery. So that's everything that we try to avoid. But sometimes, I'm going to raise my two hands, I fall under one of these categories. And that's okay. That's the good news. That is okay, because we're not perfect. But as long as we can recover from that, we can do something different, that is the thing. Because again, my friends, it is all about focus. And when you set your focus or reset your focus, everything goes in the right way. But look at this baby. The baby doesn't have too much information about what is right, what is wrong. He just go and do whatever he feels like he want to do, and he was told to do it. Rafael, we have some music on it, if you can. Thank you. So, he tried to go with a higher step, and then he refocused. Well, maybe I'm not gonna get the way I'm thinking. Let me see if I have a more doable path. No. Go down? Maybe. No. Yeah, let me try it again. There you go. I'm getting higher. Whoa, my feet got the next level. Fantastic. Let me go up. And because he did good, look to Daddy for the incentive. He doesn't look down to see how far or how afraid he is of the height. He keeps going. Because all he has is one drive. I need to see what is in the top of this thing. The rest doesn't matter. That's my focus. And he looks down to that again, not to see if it's height or not, just to get reassurance that he's on the right path. A big step. Let me try it again. Where's the A? There you go. I'm strong. I can do it. And voila. He did. If you use that as a metaphor for everything that you need to do in our day, this baby is perfect. It's a perfect metaphor. Because everything happens this way. You say that you're going to do this, and a lot of obstacles pop in front of you. You had to choose which ones are going to help you, which ones are going to put you down. And when you're not sure, you look back for reassurance. Who will give you the reassurance? Your friends, your family, your bosses. Those are the ones that supposed to give you that extra boost for you to achieve your goals. But in the end, if you don't have any of those, you have a bigger one. The one that puts you down here. And if he's with you, who will be against you? So, now, let's see that. No one puts a hand on the plow and looks back. It's fit for service in the kingdom of God. Once you set yourself to do something, go ahead and do it. Oh, what if? What if it doesn't work? What if the cows fly? You're going to be showered milk? What if? What if the world ends tomorrow? It's not ending. So, if we're going to live with the what ifs, we're always going to look back. And that is a passage in the Bible that says that when the city was going down and Sarah was told, don't look back, you're going to turn to a statue of salt. That's a metaphor, because every time you look to your past, you cannot change it. So you suffer, you freeze, and you not move ahead. So that's always a way to keep on going. And this is setting your tasks, having your focus set and preset and reset if needed. It is necessary to observe life above our superficial impressions. More than see, we need to reflect. More than hear, we need to understand. Hear is something, but understand is something else. And I used to say the difference in between being sympathetic and empathetic is being sympathetic is to hear in order to respond. Being empathetic is to hear in order to understand. Only if you understand, you can feel, or you will know what the other person is telling you. But we are so in this, tsunami of information, of I'm late or everything, that we don't stop to hear. And that's sometimes what we need to do. More than study, learn. There's a lot of academics, there's a lot of wise people that try to live out of words. They don't put it in practice. They don't learn. You're only going to learn if you make it work. You are not going to be full by reading the menu. You need to order and eat. And most just repeat awesome words, motivational words. If motivation will heal this world, will be like Not the next level. We'll be like a perfect planet because we have motivational speakers all over. That lasts what? One day after the speech? Maybe less. So words will not work if you don't put those in practice. More than work, we need to serve. And we can serve. Every one of us can serve. It's just look around. There's always somebody needing something, a word. Sometimes you give food to a homeless, and I use that all the time. And not just because you're here, Valdo, but this just sat in my mind. Valdo said that one day he was going to McDonald's, and there was one homeless, and he bought a lunch for him. But instead of giving and getting out, he sat with him. What is more important? Of course, you need to feed the body. But to recognize somebody that doesn't think too much of themselves as a human being, I think is more fulfilling than anything. So we do have this power. Not saying go ahead and do it, but if you feel in your heart that this is right. This week I had a person down in Brazil that has 2 kids and they have the worst conditions. And she doesn't have money. But I don't know what happens, but Facebook cut her account. Yeah, I did the same. My eyebrow just like, what? Why? And she opened another account and she tried to connect back with me. And I said, well, you know what? This can be a scheme, right? So many times we hear about this. And then finally she got to one of my posts and said, hey, there is me. I had to open a new account. And of course, she needs money. You get very skeptical. Say, should I give money to this person? How do you work with that? It's just money, it's words, it's what do? You feel it. Just go for your gut feeling. And if it's right for you, it doesn't matter. If you're giving money to a schemer, in your heart it's right. Not saying do it all the time, but in your heart, that is right. And I found out that I gave money to a right person, so I'm happy with that, but could be a schemer. And sometimes we do that. We're not perfect, but I believe that 99% of the time, if you follow your gut feeling, if you follow your heart, your instincts, you're probably going to do right. More than obey, cooperate spontaneously in support of peers. Spontaneously. Not when your boss tells you to do it. Not when your mom tells you to help your brother. Not when somebody tells you to do it. Do it because you feel like it. Oh, but he just make me angry. Are you angry? If you're feeling like to help, are you really angry? You're probably not. But your pride is in front of you telling you, no, you're not going to do that. It just piss you off. You're not going to do that. Why are you going to help him? Well, because you want it, because you feel like it, because it's inside of you. Don't block your good side just because you have rational reasons to don't do something. More than managing, harmonizing. If you are a manager, I'm not a manager. Probably in your own life you are a manager. Probably you do have kids. Probably you do have a family. You have something to manage, even if it's your pet. But instead of trying to boss them up, try to harmonize the best way you can. The best way that you know the word harmonize. Whatever it feels, whatever you think about it, try to use it. More than believing, reasoning. Because that is on the Gospel According to Spiritism. Allan Kardec, the codifier, once said, if science proves Spiritism wrong, stick with science. Meaning that it's a rational faith. It's not a blind faith. Because blind faith is something that, yes, it's powerful. Because everything that you believe, you put energy to. But in the end, if you got, frustrated with, the consequences are going to be devastating in your life. So try to put the facts in front and see if it works or not. So more than just believing, why should I believe? More than clarify, discern. More than talk, build. There is one sticker, I believe I saw the first time on Facebook, that is, if you come in late to criticize the ones that came before you and doing the job, please stay at home. Don't come. If you come late, help. Don't try to boss it up. Don't try to do anything. Build relationships. Because the word has a power. The word can damage or can heal. It depends how you use it. The main thing about what I do today as a consultant comes from this. Because when I was young, because of my hands, I was very, trying to blend in the best way I could. And sometimes my frustration was so high that I start using my words to hurt people. And understand that words can hurt. And even nowadays, we do things that we regret. But again, if we understand that every time you talk, you try to build something, that's a better way. Like I do that for my clients, but I do that for my life too. Who I want this person that is talking to me to be after a conversation with me, and who I want to be after a conversation with this person. That way I can focus in what I'm going to say, in what I'm going to try to convey out of this conversation. And sometimes the person that is talking to you just wants you to hear. Don't want you to say a word. One of the biggest speakers in the United States, and he's discarnated now, Zig Ziglar, told something that he said that he was in Hong Kong, and because of the jet lag, he couldn't sleep. He went to the roof. There was a bar over there, and there was a pastor. And for the whole night that he talked to the pastor, the only thing that he said to the pastor was his name. By the time that he got back to the elevator, the pastor called him, "Mr. Ziglar." He said, "Yes, you are the most interesting person that I ever met." He didn't say a word about himself. So he came with this. You want to be the most interesting person? Be the most interested. When you borrow your 2 ears and you measure twice and then you cut once, things got easier for us. We have to understand that the verb is to build, but it can destroy too. More than comment, improve. We always can improve something, a situation, relationship, whatever. More than know, transmit for good. And that's a focus, right? It's not just transmit. Transmit for good. Be intentional in that. Transmit thinking about maybe not the greater good, but what is good on that? What can I use to make people and myself better? More than inform, educate. Nowadays we have a lot of people that needs to be educated, not in the way that we think about mom and dad, but they are lost. They come from families that didn't give them even the basics. And we just say, well, it's not for me to do it. Maybe not. But if you do have a chance to not hurting, not using your words to hurt, but to educate, try it. The no you already have, right? That's what my father used to say when I asked, Dad, should I ask him for something? Why not? You already had the no. All you can get is a yes or a maybe. So I still, what we call down in Brazil, a wood face. I'm still like pushing and asking, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, yay. More than forgive, forget the evil. When we think about forgiveness, it's not about forgetting what happened. It's about understanding what happened and not giving your energy to that anymore. Because then, if you don't forget, it's trying to kill somebody and then you drink the poison. Because you are putting a lot of toxins inside of your body. Just by remembering the fact the human brain is something so incredible. Every time we remember a situation that caused us pain, we produce toxins. We produce cortisol. We produce adrenaline. And you know how you get rid of that? You know why it's being produced? Because when we were 200,000 years ago coming out of the caves, if you feel afraid, you run. And then adrenaline and cortisol get, out with your sweat. Or you fight. And again, but nowadays we cannot fight. Can you fight a psychological situation? Physically, you can't. But every time you remember that, you produce more and more and more up to a point that you have an overdose of everything that is causing you pain. But you chose to remember over and over and over. So instead of forgive, forget the evil. Not the situation, not the way it is. Forget the evil, because that's the part that we're going to make you feel miserable. That's the part that's going to make you feel pain. And when we feel pain, we cannot act. We don't have conditions to judge, to make this good decisions, and so far. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 6, the spirits say, my Father does, it's a quote from Jesus, my Father does not wish to annihilate the human race. Because they were saying, okay, you come to destroy the laws. No, he didn't come to destroy the laws. He wants the living and the dead, that is to say, those who are dead according to the flesh, because death does not exist, to assist each other mutually, and listen no more to the voices of the prophets and apostles, but listen instead to those who no longer live upon earth and who proclaim. Pray and believe. That is the resurrection of life. That is a resurrection, and life is an ordeal you seek, during which the virtues you have cultivated will grow and develop, even as the cedar tree. So, there is not an end to that, as there's not an end to good. We always can do good, every day, every time, every minute. We always can do better. We always can progress. And that's why we got this opportunity of a new incarnation. Pray and believe, but a rational belief. A belief that you know that is right. How can I know that is right? How do we know that we did something right or wrong? If you're not saying something, I'm going to choose somebody. Okay, Dilma, you up. I did something wrong. Exactly. See? There you go. I just did something wrong. I pick on Dilma. This is not right. Right?
Yeah, not right. I'm shy.
So we can, even in the slightest joke, we can make people uncomfortable. But Dilma knows me, so that's okay. Right, Will? And she has the will. Normally, we intend to have a life that is like regular, steady, like a flat line, right? But our life is kind of different, isn't it? Think about the electrocardiogram. If you have a fixed line, a steady line, what happened to you? You're probably in the afterlife right now, right? So don't try to have a steady life, because that's not for us. And the first clue is your heart. You're not going to give you, going to give you peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. What you can do is to try to shorten it up, the distance in between the peak and the valley. But believe me, even if you're in the valley, you are trying to do your best. It's not because you're in the valley you're doing the worst. No. We always try to do our best, even if we are down in the valley. Try to understand that our life is made for this kind of stuff. I used to love roller coasters, so I cannot complain about peaks and valleys because, the thrill puts me there. But sometimes that can be too much as well.
When we die, our lifeline does this. When we're alive, our lifeline does this. Notice how that connects with our real experience of life. Life is full of ups and downs. It means you're alive. Twists and turns. Love and loss. Happiness and sadness. Success and failure. We experience extreme highs, peaks, and summits, and at the same time experience the troughs, the lows, and submit. Life is kind of like one big crazy roller coaster. It starts slowly, fills you with anticipation and curiosity, takes you up, and then sends you flying down, only to rise up quickly again. We laugh until it hurts. We cry inside a little. Experience a few moments where we wanted to stop and hope it's all over, but it just keeps going. We somehow think that success is linear, an upward line. There is literally no case study for that. Everyone we admire has ups and downs. Your body mostly replaces itself every 7 to 15 years. The organs that work the hardest have the fastest changeover. You get a whole new skin every 2 to 4 weeks. Your red blood cells last less than half a year. And your liver renews itself at least once every couple of years. The universe is always changing. We are always changing. But we want to remain the same. We settle for security, not recognizing that a flat lifeline means we're dead. Real life is ups and downs. Death looks like this. Every time I see that, I remind myself, this is living, this isn't. In the journey of life, we pass pleasure and pain. There will be sunshine and rain. There will be loss and gain. But we must learn to move forward again and again. Don't judge the moment. Don't try to hang on because it will keep pushing you forward. And remember, this morning, if you're healthy, you're happier than the 1 million people that will not survive this week. If there's food in your fridge, shoes on your feet, clothes on your body, a bed to sleep on, and a roof over your head, you're richer than 75% of people in the world. And if you have a bank account, money in your wallet or a purse, or coins in a jar, who are in the top 8% of the world's wealthiest. We cannot avoid the ups and downs, but we can change the way we see them. Because as Wayne Dyer said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
So it's very powerful, right? It's to understand a little bit about our complaints. It's to understand a little bit about our lives. And one thing that I love that he said is that don't try to understand or to stick to the moment, because as we heard here, our body renew every 7 years. So if you do have a cancer and the organs being renewed, it's probably a healthy organ. What makes it sick again? You've been stuck in the same thought, in the same mood that generate the cancer in your body. Sometimes can be something spiritual, of course, but a lot of times it's about how you react to life, how you focus, how you understand what's happening to you. I know it's hard when we're passing through a hard condition, physical or monetary or even psychological, to try to ask yourself, what is there for me? What is the question that this illness is giving to me? But after, which is the time that you recover and you move on, why are you still here? If your body is here, if your soul is here, why are you still here thinking about what happened, who did you bad? What's that gonna help you in your lifeline? It's gonna add more valleys, right? Less peaks and more valleys. So it's always a choice. It's always a way of understanding life. It's always a way of living the best that you can live. Some days, as he said, is a sunshiny day. Some days it's kind of cloudy. Some days it's a heavy rain. Doesn't matter. We're still alive. We're still trying. We're still fighting. Chico Xavier. Come on, Chico. Oh, and he disappeared. Okay. He used to say, I like to tell you to live like someone who knows he's going to die one day, and to die like someone who knew how to live well. It's very comforting. Maybe we're not there yet, but we still have more ups and downs in our lifeline to get to this point. But live like someone who knows that's going to die one day. It means, remember I did one day with you, it was something from a management guy, and he was giving some scenarios. The first scenario was like, oh, you got money in the lotto, and you have money for the rest of your life. So what should you do? What's the next thing for you? Then he comes with, okay, you have all this money, but then you got an information from your doctor that you have a rare disease and you're going to die in 2 years. You're not going to know when that's going to happen. It's not going to be painful, but you're going to die in 2 years. So I asked whoever was here to make a list. So the first list, when you have money and all the conditions in front of you, compared to the second, is like, that's photo. Why should I wrote this? Well, because you didn't recognize the fact that you're gonna perish sometime. And the third scenario was like, okay, you just got a call from your doctor, and tomorrow you're gonna die. Look at the list that you just made and see if it's something that you put there really has a meaning. So that's what Chico is saying there. Live knows that you're going to die someday. So Is that so important right now? Or right now it doesn't matter too much? That's the question.